Hello everyone, it's good to have you back on a live stream, and a rather special one. Whether you're watching this right now or you're watching it at a later point, I think this is a rather interesting one. And I first have to admit something. When I did my video on the digital event recorder type 7502, I did it in a way that was very old school Heinbach. Oh my God, what's happening there? I left my phone on and the phone was tuned to the live stream and now it's talking in the kitchen. I have to turn that off else I wake up the kids. Whew. I guess this is live. Oh, it was my laptop. It was blasting full tilt in the kitchen. Okay, so so when I made the video on this, I wanted to do it like I did my earlier test equipment videos. Just find an interesting device, which I found on classifieds rather cheaply. As it turns out to be, it felt like $300 was a lot, but yeah, it was rather cheap for what it is in the end. And then just go in and not do too much research. I did a bit of Googling, found nothing on the first 2 pages, and I was like, come on, let's just try it. And I didn't even get the date when this was made, and that changes a lot when you think about it. And there was not much information I found, and I only realized that I had an actual book where this was covered. So this is the catalog, the master catalog from 1983. That would have given me a hint when this was made. So before 1983. And I thought, because this felt like such an advanced device with all its sampling options, that this was something from the mid-80s to early 90s. And I say that in the video, but no. This existed before 1983. But then illustrious Plum 1200, a member of the Heinbach subreddit, did way better research, discovering all kinds of documents, mentions of this in various journals, and then also found the full manual, which I'll display in a bit, and then also exactly when it was made. And that was not in the mid-80s, not in the early 90s, not even in 1983, but in 1972. So this digital sampler, and I'm hoping you all know what this is, because this is my last video. So if you are unsure what this is, how it sounds, because I can't demo it on the stream tonight, watch the video later. Maybe watch the video later, or come watch the video and then come back to the stream, because you can always zoom up and zoom down. So this is a sampler from 1972. This predates the first commercially available sampler, the Fairlight, by a good 7 years. And it's just 3 years, 1969, the first musical sampler was developed. And that was, I think, EMS Systems. Peter Zawinow was involved in that, but that was not a commercial project. So this might actually be the first commercially available sampler. Albeit only if you knew what a sampler was and if you went through a lot of hoops, and like I use it. So only if you had like the musical ideas to use things that are not made for music as a musical instrument. Because you can sample with this, you can delay with it, you can pitch shift, and if you go through 2 hoops, basically you connect a function generator and a function generator that can be controlled, or an oscillator that can be controlled volt per octave, you can play this in tune, volt per octave, with a keyboard. Granted, there's no VCA here, so you're only getting pitch changes, but it is it is a proto sampler. And there's many things to talk about in this, and I'm gonna enjoy in a bit reading through your comments about this, and I think you all are gonna have good input on this. But the first thing I would like to do is go through the catalog, because there's 4 good pages of information that give like a primer on this, and yeah, then we can think more on this. It's such a weird thing that the one time I don't do research, I miss something as cool as this potentially being the first commercially available sampler in a roundabout way. So let me check. So here, if I can click here, I think I should be able to add the digital event recorder to the stage. So I think I need to jump here to my Vorschau, so I can jump myself through it. Yes, good. So the name of the book that I have here is the Master Catalog 1983 for Electronic Instruments. This is a gift from my friend Dennis Wershaw, and it's a wonderful book. It's basically like this, all the things that Brüel Kjaer made and kept in the catalog. There's so many cool instruments in here. It's just wonderful to read through it. It's almost like, this could be useful. This might be something interesting. And I totally forgot that I had this around. So when I open this up, here is the digital event recorder. I could have just researched in my own books to get more information about this instrument. So yeah, so let me go to the first page and we can have a look at the features that this has and what it was actually intended to be used for. So we've got features. The frequency range goes from DC 50 kilohertz, that's rather high for 1972, and DC 25 kilohertz with the internal filters. This thing has beautiful analog filters inside. They sound really good. The playback is up to 250 kilohertz, and it has 8 bits of resolution. Analog and digital input-output capability. Storage size, that's the sampling size basically. You can see here 2048, 4096, and so on and so on. Built-in anti-aliasing filters, external sampling and triggering capability. So you can basically you can use external sources to sample with this. Like you can use an external trigger, for example, to trigger it to sample, which is something I haven't tried in the video even, because you could connect this and basically play it like a Seat Lombard Coco Quantus with a trigger sequencer or a pedal. I think more to explore here. Built-in attenuator, remote control capability, independent record playback sample rate selection. That's the kicker, because you can record at one sample rate and then you can play it back at another. And you can shift between those continuously. So you can have it like play something at this sample rate and then play it back record at this sample rate and listen to that and then have it shift to another. And that's something I demonstrate in the video. And that's why this sounds so cool that you can do this kind of shifting. Then selectable recording time after triggering occurrence. So you can, of course, you can change from a trigger how long you want to record. Selectable repetition delay, how much delay basically you want after that. And I think that has to do with the thing I also didn't work on. These settings, repetition delay here, I simply forgot. I was just excited to play with this and have so much fun. And then more units can be connected in a master-slave arrangement for very wide dynamic range or very long recording time, which is also interesting. You could build a cluster so you could have more recording time or more dynamic range. That's amazing for the time. So now we come to the uses. Capturing of shocks and transients. Very typical for a Brüel Kjaer piece of equipment. You had actuators that would excite something, and then you could measure, for example, how the airplane wing would react to that. Automatic monitoring of environment. I'm not sure how that would work, but probably yes. So you've got a silent environment, an event happens, it will trigger automatically, and that will be recorded and stay in memory. Frequency analysis of shocks and low frequency vibration. Yeah, that's similar thing where before. Speech analysis. I hadn't thought of that, and this book goes into more how this can be used in linguistics, for example, or probably like anywhere you want to decipher phonemes, for example, or analyze language. A delay line. That's something I didn't even notice when I got this. I looked at the panel. This can be used as a digital delay line. And I think the very first eventide digital delay, which I have up here to the left, the 1745M, is from around the same time. I think it might be 1974. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. 1974. So even a bit earlier than the earliest eventide delay. Then we've got computer backup storage. I mean, that's a very, very small storage that you have, but for the time being of computers at the time, this can be a storage unit. I'm probably not using this today for this. You don't know how long this function was in use, but yeah, it works. Speed transformation device. It's a frequency shift, a pitch shifter. Absolutely that, and you can slow things down. A function generator. That's interesting. It's a function generator. I think it later mentions in the manual that you're basically capturing a function and then playing it back. And signal storage for ordinary oscilloscopes. So someone in the comments on the video said, yeah, this is basically a way to get a digital storage oscilloscope from an analog oscilloscope. Very, very interesting. So a lot of possibilities already in one unit. And of course, as we discovered, it's all very musical, and you can play basically melodies with it and use it to do crazy echoes and all of that stuff. I wonder if the engineers ever did things like that when they tested it. I mean, probably not, because these things were marketed to. These cost an arm and a leg. I wish if someone of you can find a catalog, like a sales catalog from Brüel Kjaer of the time, I would think this would have cost as much as like a Mercedes-Benz, like a nice Mercedes-Benz at the time. So this was not something that was easily accessible to many people. I think only top laboratories could afford like digital technology such as this. And it looks so modern. Does this look like 1972 to you? I thought this was 80s. It's such a modern looking device. So, yeah. So, let's... okay. Let's go to the next page. Let's read what it says here first. The digital event recorder type 7542 is designed to capture short-duration events and to reproduce them when desired. The instrument features possibilities for automatic internal or external control of triggering and independent choice of record and playback sample rate. This makes the instrument ideally suited for use in systems for monitoring frequency analysis of shocks, transients, and low-frequency signals, and as a delay line. As this instrument is purely electronic, using all solid-state circuitry, all the disadvantages with the use of electromechanical devices, such as a tape recorder, for the mentioned measurements are avoided. And that was a problem at the time. So in the previous video, I covered the Grundig Signalspeicher, which was a similar unit meant to record a very short event, I think 23 milliseconds, on a tiny tape loop. And the unit that I got was never used, never opened, it came fresh out of the box, and it worked absolutely spectacular. But it was also pretty noisy and pretty complicated to set up. It did some nifty things, like to get a triggering impulse to trigger a oscilloscope in time. On the tape loops, there was basically a blank metal strip that would generate a trigger whenever it passed over the magnetic head. So it was like tick, 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 tick. And yeah, obviously a very impractical, for the time practical, but very impractical device because of all the limitations of the tape, how quickly the tape wore out, and yeah, the very restricted recording time. So this was definitely a step back up at the time. But if I had read all of these in the beginning, like if I had just looked into this book and said, oh, what things could be interesting to check out, I would have been like, oh my God, I need one of these. But my failure was oftentimes looking at things with big dials, like, oh, everything that has a big dial is good. This doesn't have big dial. This is a decent sized dials, but it's not like, let me see if there's some wobbling thing here in this catalog that we can show. Conditioning amplifier. Oh, this is already all pretty new stuff, so there's not so much of the big old Brüel Kjaers in here. Power amplifier. That's already slick. Maybe they got some older stuff here. Yeah. But I think some of you might know the big Brüel Kjaers, I mean, where the dial is the size of a head. So these things are what I kept the lookout for, and all these modern looking things I always avoided. So that's why I never stumbled upon this until I found it on Classifieds. Page 2, and here you can see the block diagram, how it's all organized, which is very helpful for figuring it actually out. And this is a very, very nice... Hey, Dr. Mix, nice to see you. This is a very, very nice overview about everything. I don't think I should read all of this, because what uses an instruction manual for a thing that I don't know how rare this is. This is probably, yeah, I don't know how long they made. They made this up until 1983 at least, because that was available in their catalog. But I don't know how many survive. And I'll put the manual and such up on my subreddit so everybody can find it. And all these pictures here, I'm going to make a nice page for that. And I also got sent in more information by Johannes. I think he sent me something to my email. So I'm going to compile all of these and put them in a thread. So yeah, the information on this you can read in detail about it. So, but there's the block diagram. Here's how the playback looks, how the repetition delay works. You can see here. And then, yeah, here's a setup. Here's one of those big spinny Brüel Kjaer things I was talking about right in the middle of it. So there's a microphone. Digital event recorder records it. Then there's a heterodyne analyzer. That's for what was that again for? That's for like heterodyning signals that are out of the hearing range back down into the hearing range and the other way around. And then it's all supposed to go into a level recorder, which is the printer. So, and here's where is it? There was another one down there. I'm sorry, I skipped that. Here, where is it? Down there, there was one with the tape recorder and the digital event recorder. Yeah. And there's a function generator. If a mini computer is used, a time function can be composed and recorded on punched tape. I think I saw the mention of punched tape here before. So yeah, this punch card stuff. The taped signal can then be recorded on the 7502. The digital event recorder now works as a function generator with the possibility for supplying almost any kind of signal. Yeah. Bigger setup, measuring amplifier, digital event recorder goes to tape recorder or to the level recorder or to a tape punch recorder. Yeah, I've never been into that world, and I wish Sam would have had time. I just asked him, look on the computer, if he had time, but he was busy elsewhere, and I just scheduled this just out of excitement, so with no warning. And there's a computer, and this computer looks very cool. I mean, this looks like a very cool and fun computer. Then we've got this master-slave arrangement where you can do 3 independent signals simultaneously, or you can combine them to one big. There's a lot of things you can do with this whole setup. And then I think we've got Phonetics. Yeah, that was what I was talking about. So in phonetics, the digital event recorder provides excellent means for investigations both in the time and frequency domain. As figure 14 shows an example of the amplitude progress of the English word motors. A part of the word has been expanded 5 times, giving a very clear picture. Yeah, basically by expanded just means slowing down the, halving the sample rate or slowing down the sample rate so you can see how the word vibrates. So this is all stuff you can do in Audacity or in Cool Edit 96. This is for us, this is nothing special. But at the time in 1972, being able to display sounds like that was advanced stuff. So yeah, and here we've got all the technical details. And the one thing that I find interesting again is the 50 kilohertz sample rate that combined with 8-bit. That's unusual. And we're talking about the year 1972. So I think that is rather amazing. So good. So now let's close this one. Remove. Get me back here. All right. So yeah, that was a bit of the background information that was missing from the video, and I'm supplying and I'm uploading to the subreddit. And yeah, so I'm really curious. I mean, do you think this could be actually the first commercially available sampler if anyone had thought to use it that way? Or is this just a very different kind of device? For me, it seems like it is, but my mind works in weird ways in regards to what constitutes an instrument and what not. So I'm gonna look at the comments now and see what you guys think of this, and also if you found anything more about this or related devices, or if you've worked with a Fairlight, anything. Basically, this is kind of open for discussion now. I haven't had any plan except for showing you the findings, showing you the page on the subreddit. I think I posted it a bit before, and I hope that the user Illustrious Plum 1200, you are the one that kicked off this whole thing, and you are the one that actually mentioned the thing. This could be the first commercial sampler idea that has then gripped my attention. So if you are around, let me know. So cool. So let's see. It's more of an instrument. Okay, let me check. It's more of an instrument compared to the usual Brüel Kjaer stuff, so that makes sense. Yeah, it has. I mean, there might be more in the Brüel Kjaer catalog in here even that could be fantastic for music use. That has hidden possibilities unlocked. I should just go through it and figure out things like, I mean, 2-plane balancing equipment. Could this make an amazing shaker? Maybe a very precise shaker. Or, yeah, a universal balancing machine. Can you see it, or is it too overblown? Maybe like this, yeah. Universal balancing machine. Again, percussion, maybe. Percussion. And yeah, a field, so I probably can say, this is probably clear, that a field balancing set and vibration meter will be fantastic for music because it's an amplifier and it has a bandpass filter behind it. So yeah, this is a no-brainer for experimental music. But a field balancing set for vibration, for rotating machinery. No idea. But it says conditioning preamplifier with switchable high and low pass filters. Tracking filter to automatically track rotation frequency without prior tuning and to provide automatic sweeping. So tracking filter always gets me going. A tracking filter can be super interesting. I've got 4 of these down here meant to find dolphins in the water, and they sound wonderful. So could be another thing. So this catalog might just be a hidden gem to have more things that are actual meant for something else, like acoustic analysis or 2-plane balancers. it's just finding these cheaply or maybe free, broken, used, and trying to make music with them. So, yeah. Okay, that's one thing I need to address. James T, how many do you think daisy chain before your stand gives away? As you can see, this is now on a very sturdy stand. This is on one of the best stands in the video. I was excited because all the last videos that I made, like the one on the Sennheiser vocoder and stuff, they were like, and the video I did on the tank, these were all things that had been long coming. I had tons of footage, lots of time. I needed to work on them a lot of time, and do research and stuff like that. But this one, the video that I made on this one, was just like, come on, find something cool and have fun with it. It was very much a relief. So when I got it, I was like, grab anything, make it work. I mean, it added a sense of drama, maybe unnecessary drama. But I didn't have a stand that was high enough because this is too low. I need to find a stand that goes a little bit higher to show here. Because I used to have a table over there where I demoed stuff. But at some point I stopped like demoing stuff over there because I just thought, come on, we're here in the studio, it's nice here, come on, let's just do it right here, don't need an extra table. But I need a better stand. But this stand, come on, this is the stand alone weighs like 10 kilograms, so it's all good. I can lean on that, and I could stack 3 with no problems on this. So that's an address to the previous 4. And yes, I found this on Kleinanzeigen, my favorite place to find things. Yeah, could the Mellotron be the very first Rompler? Yes, that's what it's oftentimes called. It's one of the first ROM players, or basically like very roundabout samplers. So because you would need to send them sounds and then they could record them. So there was a way you could use them as a sampler, but that's very roundabout. But yeah, that was one of the first. But yeah, analog and with tape. The phonetics thing indicates that they were thinking of using it for audio, so maybe someone tried it at the time. Yes, they were using it for audio, and I'm thinking, like, that's the thing. I know and one of the comments that I often get when I play with test equipment, be it nuclear, be it whatever, that a comment I get is, I used to work with this in the lab 40 years ago. And so fun to see it now be used for music. I used to wonder if it was possible to do that. And many people didn't. So many people had this in the lab, and the lab was a place where you wouldn't mess around with things like that for jamming, apparently. So I think because of the priciness of these things and the way that they were basically in a lab, many people didn't actually... at least not the way that I do. Maybe like taking a voice and go, whoa, look how funny that sounds, my voice is now that low. But thinking of routing this in a feedback loop and dubbing away with like echoes, I doubt that was a thing that people did at the time. But if you did, if you were in the lab and you dubbed out with this, kudos to you. That's amazing. Did Holger Hiller use one of these when he was working at Mute? I doubt anyone ever used one of these for music, because at the time, like in the 80s, and then much more powerful units became available, and you had stuff like the Eventide Digital Delay 1745, and the M version had a pitch shifter inside, and then quickly came the 945 Eventides and the Lexicons, which all offered already a lot of the features that this one has, even though the Eventide doesn't have external CV control. So I think Holger Hiller would have used more made for music devices. Oh my god, you should look out for the 2972 signal gate, which was designed to work with the 7502. Andrew, how do you know that? How do you know that these two were together? Did you see it in the thing? So let me see if I can look at that here. But the problem is you guys are probably hitting up eBay right before me. So I'll have to find other ways to find it. So that's signal gate. Okay. signal sign. Maybe it's on the gating system, but the number is 29. I'm not finding it. 29. It's not sorted by numbers here. It's been alphabetical there's a numerical index. Perfect. That's catalog. Come on, it's amazing. 297. 2972. Oh no, it goes to 2971. Let's see what 2971 is. That's on page 359. When companies could afford to make... No, that's a different thing. That's a phase meter. Okay, so if you got the number correctly, it's not in the book here. I'm sad about that. Yeah, okay. So I need to research somewhere else. So... I'd be surprised if they didn't have one of these at the BBC Radiophonic Workshop or GRM or IRCAM. The thing is, the stuff that they had at the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, GRM or IRCAM has been come through with a fine comb. Has been like when you do when you thing with your hair. Comb, German, German word. So everybody looks at the stuff that they had there and sees, oh, can I find this? Can I find this? So if some of especially the guys in the Netherlands haven't picked up that there, I doubt that they had it there, but maybe they did. And you would need to go into the archives, or you would need to have some people there that were around at that time at that place to see if they had it. So, but I wonder how you would requisition something like this. This must have been. But they had Brüel Kjaer. I know they had Brüel Kjaer at IRCAM because I have a big filter bank by Brüel Kjaer, like the heavy big one that they did, and that came from IRCAM. It even had the UPIC, the system that Xenakis used, inventory number 25. So they used Brüel Kjaer and very high-end stuff. So at IRCAM, I think that would be the most likely place. Not so much the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, but it would be so interesting. I know some of you people some of the people that are watching my channel. So if you see this, can you look through your inventory and see if this was used there? It would be like if we can find more musical uses of this, more historical musical uses, that would make me so happy. Maybe there's even a piece composed where this was involved. Stuff like this, that would make me truly happy. That's my musicologist side to discover these things. How much does that thing weigh? 17 kilograms. It's very heavy. Yeah, maybe the first microlooper that can be played with a keyboard. Yeah, so that's the thing. This is like I felt like I was playing a Chase Bliss pedal when I first encountered this. It was suddenly all these magical glitches, and I'm really tempted to build a modular system around it with the correct pulse to drive the sampling rate, to make this a centerpiece. Because even though it's very limited, there's no overdub, it's very short, it sounds very good, and due to the very high sample rate on playback, which goes up to 250 kilohertz, it retains bass frequencies incredibly well. Like, you can hear it in the video. Pitching something down, it just hits very, very nicely. It doesn't get sloppy, like pitching something down in a DAW. There's like in Ableton, we pitch it down, yeah, okay, there's the effect, and suddenly things become a bit flabby, and it's not so nice. But with this, it's just, it retains that texture. And I believe that's due to the very high sample rate that's on the playback internally. So, yeah, it has its own sound. Oh, there's one on eBay right now. Are you talking about this one, or are you talking about the gate thing we were talking about before? So the one thing I have to say, if you plan on getting one of these, so when I got it, all the cards that are inside here, because this is just cards full of chips, basically the plastic rots away. So they all fell out and I had to reseat all of them. easiest repair ever, but you have to think like early digital stuff. If something in here breaks, I wouldn't know if there's any way to fix it, except for like simple things like power supply stuff. Yes, for sure. But if some of the chips break, at least they're not scratched off. At least you can still like see what they all are. It's very clear, and it's very, very direct how to figure out what's wrong, probably, especially because there's a service manual, which again I'm gonna put later or tomorrow probably because it's getting late here, onto the subreddit. Or you can even find already by Googling. I think it's on Perl-Hi-Fi. There you can find the instruction manual. So, oh, Andrew, you found it. It's in the BK 1973 catalog. Andrew, if you have that catalog, and could you take a picture and post it to the subreddit? I would like to see the unit you're referencing to, because apparently it was deleted from the 1983 catalog. And yeah, I wish all these catalogs were scanned and archived, because they're just wonderful. But this is such a big job. Like, it's 700 and oh my god, it's a book, 768 pages, and on the back you even get different meters and stuff. Oh god. So I'm not able to scan that in my lifetime. Tape signal gate. Okay. Oof. Okay, that's what I need. Oh, that's an interesting. It's a slight detour, but I can answer that now. Since you are heavily involved in creating emulations of these hypersensitive, expensive devices, do software engineers have opinions on what hardware components are so special with this classic studio gear? So one thing that I noticed is, especially when you think about vacuum tube gear, that the tubes are all different, and there are some tubes that where no good models exist so far. So you would need to model the behavior of these tubes, because the thing is, now if you want to do something nicely, you have to do component level kind of stuff, like to emulate the circuitry. That's like the fine thing that would make stuff really, really alive. And that's something we do in lines. For example, there's a whole modeling system of the second and third order distortion there. That's all based on diode clipping and limiting. And I spent a good week just fine-tuning it so it sounds exactly like it does on the telephone line simulator. But for many things, you don't have these kind of emulations. For certain types of tubes, especially if they're older, or when you're talking about esoteric stuff like this, there's no need to make a model because it's so rare. So that's the thing. To make accurate models of some of these things is very, very rare. And then, of course, you have to model them inside the circuit. So you've got the behavior of the tube by itself, but then you have to model how it's in the circuit. And especially if you're thinking about feedback behaviors, where the one thing acts differently when it feedbacks into the other, it gets complicated very fast. And at some point you have to make the decision how much like computer power you want to use for something. So because people are going to complain that if you put in one instance and it's gonna like take 10% of the M4 MacBook, what is that? Yeah, but that's what we need to make it perfect. But okay, but that's not feasible. You can't make such a big plugin, so you have to cut down at some points. You have to make things efficient or like good enough. So yeah, it's a whole process. Okay. Please find a good composer to use all these cool musical instruments. This is like one of my favorite nagging compliments. Like it's like, oh, you have great stuff. You now find someone else to use it. So you, dear sir, are gonna go into, can I do it? Hiding, and I'm gonna kick you off. Bam. That's these kind of comments. I love them. This is it's yeah, good stuff that you have there. You find someone good to use it. That's a bit, nah. What do we have here? Oh, Andrew has emailed me the link. Perfect. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you. I'm going to check that out. 1967, the first commercial PCM encoder, monaural, was developed by NHK's research facilities in Japan. The 30 kHz 12-bit device used a compounder similar to DBX noise reduction to extend the dynamic range and stored the signals on a videotape recorder. Nice. Yeah, so that's an early digital recording instrument. It's another interesting question. Do you think it's possible to use the B&Key the B&Key tape recorders? I am always curious about them. So depending on what you want to use them for, because they have different cards. There are cards for audio and cards for vibration. So you can use these as control voltage recorders in terms of with a modular system and play back audio signals at the same time. So they can be super powerful, potentially. I've got a similar recorder by Hewlett-Packard. I think I called it the Endgame Tape Machine, the video or something, that can be computer controlled, has the different cards, it's multi-track, absurdly powerful, but also very clunky in the end to use for music and not exactly incredibly hi-fi compared to something like a dedicated tape recorder for music or a Nagra. But very interesting experimental devices. Very interesting experimental devices. So I've never, because they're always pricey, so the Brüel Kjaer tape recorders are very pricey, and I can't afford to take that risk. But if someone has one and they want to say, hey, can you make something with it? I'm happy to try it out. But unless I find like the really greatest musical use for it, I'm not willing to spend like, I think, what do they go for? Anything from 1,000 to 3,000 euro. That's where it kind of like drops off, because part of this fun with the test equipment is that much of this is cheap and you can find it easily, not find it easily, but you just browse and then suddenly something pops up and you think, oh, I want to try this. And it's this was one of the most expensive units I took a bet on. But it was a good bet. But yeah, I would rather buy, for that price, I would rather buy a Nagra, probably, if I want to have like something where I know this works. It's a bit of a price risk. So, but if you find one, if university or something has one lying around that they are not using, or like a former acoustics lab, try it out, I think. But or you have the money to do that risk. I'm scared. I'm scared to try the Brüel Kjaer tape recorders. No, the Brüel Kjaer recorders are not for digital. They're like analog storage. There are conversions for them for digital storage. There are conversions for them, but most of them are actually for AC recordings and for DC recordings also. And they have a commentary track for voice also. But you need to really check what cards you get. There are some that are really able to record full range audio. But oftentimes the thing that's lacking is good equalization, like the equalization you get from a Nagra that's meant for music. So you're going to have a higher noise floor, higher signal to noise ratio in exchange for an extended frequency range, which can be awesome for experimentation. And I would love a Nagra SJ, which is designed to run with Brüel Kjaer microphones. For that experiment, but the thing is, everybody wants to trade their SJ for a S for the music model, and it's not possible to convert one into the other. So it's again something where I'm like, I can't spend 3,500 for something that I'm only gonna use for experiments. Maybe I can't. It's too much. No, Stefan, no, don't. Greetings from Macedonia and the kids from the Amondur Music School. Still enjoying your kind donation. Thanks. Oh, that's lovely to hear. That's a music school where I donated some stuff to a long time ago, and happy to hear that it's still in use. Do you call any of these B&K? Measuring amp 268, I know that. Bandpass filter 16.8, yes, I have that. Measuring amplifier 261, I know it. Sine generator 1023, I know it. Power amplifier 2706, I don't know. Gating system 444, I looked at, it seemed very interesting. Power amp 2706, I don't know that one. But bandpass filter, yes. Measuring amplifier, yes. Measuring amp, yes. Sine generator, yes. Gating system, very likely. Very likely. Does your catalog have the 7? Okay, yes, of course. Johan, you're right. So let's look at the tape recorder. So we're getting off topic here. I'm sorry. We can return right back to this. But I think the topic becomes now this this beautiful catalog. So 7. Oh, no, it's not in there anymore. I think we've got the later version, the 705. So that's on page 535. 535. No, digital 535, 535, 535. Yes, we've got the later version. Portable instrumentation tape recorders. So, used for field and laboratory recording of vibration and sound data, covering a frequency range from DC to 60 kilohertz. That's a hugely extended. Oof. That's actually pretty cool because you can capture ultrasound and then pitch that down. Oof. Okay, so FM recording from DC up to 20 kilohertz at 15 inch per second. Direct recording from 4 hertz, insanely low. It's a vibration recorder at 1.5 inch up to 60 kilohertz at 15 inch. So Compander unit for unattended recording of non-stationary signals with dynamic range 70 decibel. So you can just put this somewhere and then it will record triggered. So okay, then we've got a problem here. Fully enclosed tape compartment accepts 7-inch tape spools. That's good. And BK tape loop cassettes. I saw one of those tape loop cassettes from Brüel Kjaer. They're very cool. This is mean. It's kind of like something that it's really cool. So yeah, you need to configure it, and then you can do extreme recordings and pitch them down. I think they're worth it. Okay, here, look, there's a guy. I hope you can see. There's a guy recording someone with the sawing wood. So probably for how much noise does this produce, at what frequencies, and what kind of ear protection does this person need. So that's what this was used for. But okay, I think they might, like this model especially, the 70506, depending on what cards you have, there might actually be awesome for experiments. So yeah, that's my verdict. Probably awesome for experiments. I would like to try one. Okay. Can that input be used as a gate in? Trigger input, yeah, this can be used as a gate in. So the trigger input is externally, so it just accepts like TTL, like plus 5. So we can trigger this externally, even with a pedal maybe, so we can actually turn this into a pedal. Yeah, the HP computer controlled tape recorder and this B&Key could be a really cool combo, and I agree. But I need to basically build a new studio for that, a new space, because here everything is full, and I realized that machine and something like this, they require like space. Else, like, it doesn't have rack ears, and I don't see any way to like re-add them, but these things require. I can't turn it on. It's like this long, so like this. So this needs space around it. I'm wondering if you got any info on the BK frequencylizer 553.1. Funny though, considering one is in my workshop. I can consider the magic book, which is apparently the thing that I'm doing tonight. Okay, 50. No, that whole series is not here anymore. Everything 50 is not in this book anymore. All probably obsolete at some point. So no, I don't know. take a picture, please, and put it up on the subreddit. I'd love to see the secret thing. The question was, is it worth Musical to have them? I've seen local classifieds with a whole pack. Is it worth it? It depends on the price. So the filters are fantastic, the preamps are fantastic, and if they are cheap, yes, cool. You can do a lot of things with them. If it's expensive, I wouldn't bother. So it doesn't make sense to, like, the only things that you can really, like, it really makes sense to pay like good money for, I think, where you think, okay, $300 is cool for like a Brüel Kjaer filter, like one of the big ones. I think 1618 is one of those big ones with a big dial. They sound magical. They're wonderful. Worth $300. But if you go into crazy prices, like reverb prices, I don't know. Then it becomes very collectorish, and that kind of takes away from the joy of these things. But yeah, it's possible. It's possible to do. They're wonderful. So, but it's nice to. Many of the people that I know that got these, they got them for free from universities or scrap heaps or universities that sold a lot. So Sam bought his, basically I think he wrote like 20 universities, and 2 said, yeah, okay, you can have our stuff. And that's how he came up with a whole wall of them for, I think, very little. So yeah, but if the whole bundle is available for cheap and they just want to take it off your hands, yeah, I would go for it. For the clock in on this unit, have you ever tried giving an uneven pulse instead of an even clock? That I have, and that I do it in the video. So I do like modulated clock things. So I try all kinds of things. So I'm using a WaveTech generator, and that does all kinds of beautiful, weird stuff. Even you can have like an FM modulated clock, and then this thing will also sound like it does cool. It sounds cool. I think you can hear it in the video. I had to cut out a lot of the experiments because I think I spent like 4 hours experimenting with it, and the video is 20 or 5 hours longer. 2 days even, and the video is 22 minutes long. So there's a lot on the cutting room floor for the sake of brevity, and but there's so much more. I just at some point have to like figure out, okay, this is something that people can latch onto because it's cool, and this is stuff that that you kind of like need to go the whole way to experience what it does. So but yeah, modulated clock absolutely sounds wonderful with this. It's very much so. One modern instrument that you can buy is the Seat Lombard Coco Quantus and the upcoming Café Quantum, which is very similar in the aesthetic, different in sound, so different in like the texture of noise that they produce, but very similar in the way that you can modulate them and create and loop and pitch around and do all these things. So that's a modern alternative to something like this. Of course, they cost 3 times to 4 times as much as one of these, but of course they also just work, and they're musical instruments from the get-go. Ah, look, John Irons, nice to see you. John is one of the premium guys for the experimentation on that HP recorder, which it's not in my studio anymore. It's awaiting a new home in a new place that I'm working on. So and he's one of the wizards of this instrument. He provided wonderful scans for it. So nice to have you here on this live stream. So if you haven't seen the video, it's Endgame Tape Machine, I think, and yeah, it's a talk I did demoing this thing for the Chaos Computer Club, I think. So, oof, 17502 sold on eBay France recently. It looks like it has OEM rack ears. At the price they were, though, I expect you could specify the outer case. Yes, you can. There's a sheet here that says like all the different modifications that you can get. I think this one has the smallest amount of sample RAM. You could have upgraded it to much higher rates, for example. And so this is basically the standard version, which probably cost enough. So Ah, look who's there. Dak Crowell, another specialist, one of the most knowledgeable people in the tape and test equipment world. The 531 might be in the BK limbo like my 123, in case the 123 was a BK precision device from before the split between brush and BK. I don't know what brush even is, so, but Dak is sometimes also in the subreddit, and every time he's there, drops wonderful bombs of knowledge. And I owe, for example, the PARCR4A to his recommendation. It's one of the most beautiful preamps that I have here. So yeah, every post that Dak writes in the subreddit, pure knowledge, wonderful. Thanks, cool that you're here. Hazel's channel. I was thinking like how you can set words on a word generator so you can set the on and off pattern of the square wave, something like that, into the clock in. Yeah, I can try. I wanted to try a word clock generator into this, a word generator, because then I can also set pulses for the trigger from that. So you can have timed looping, and a time clock with with the divisions could be very interesting. There's a whole more to experiment with that. So, well, so what do you guys think? Is this kind of the first commercially available sampler, even though it wasn't intended to be like that? And to make it into what we understand of a sampler right now, you have to go a very roundabout way. Just let's have a quick vote. If you are, can we even do you have thumbs up or thumbs down emoji there? I don't know. Like, can you do like this? Oh, what's that? That's some Apple magic. Oh no. Oh, can you do this? So, or vote aye or nay if you think this is like a proto sampler or not. You can do it. Okay, upvote yes. Do upvote yes. And now if you think, no, this is not a sampler, this is just a piece of test equipment, and you're weird for, for even suggesting that. I'd just like to know what you guys think. Yeah. Okay, so far we're all up, yes. Adrian, Kyle, Johan, Thomas, Jakub, Unabi, Daniel, Lee Audio, Zero Noise Zero, Hazel's channel, PRK Industrial, James T. I can't understand that. I can't. My eyes, my glasses are not good. I can see that I can. Commercially available. I mean, you could order it. I mean, you can buy it. I mean, it's still a boutique thing, but you can get it. You can order it, and then you can buy it. So you can. Dak Crowell, yeah. But like all good test gear, it's being used interestingly. Yeah. Popcorn, very good. It samples what comes in and manipulates. Okay, Kyle Dean. It samples what comes in and manipulates it. It's a sampler. Yeah. Cool. So I think we've got agreement that this is an early form of a sampler if you use it interestingly. Interestingly is probably a good word. So, I'll let you know if anything more pops up, and I hope, like, through the previous video and maybe this live stream, which I'll leave up for everybody to watch, maybe more information comes out, and maybe even someone that wrote a piece with it, used this, or that would be amazing. And I'm just happy. And let me know if this, like something like this, where I've made a video and then I make a stream afterwards to clear up questions, is something that's interesting or not to you. I often do follow-up posts on the community page of YouTube, or I post them in the subreddit. But if I have time, a stream like this seems to be a fun thing, especially now I'm not playing live, I think, for this year anymore, and I've done all my touring, so I'm at home mostly. I'm in the studio and working there, so this might be a cool thing to do. So let me know if that's something you enjoy. I mean, I like enjoy, and it's lovely talking to you. So no. Ah, yes. Andrew, I think the analog devices ADC chip inside is worth researching. I think the first one was 1969. Andrew, lovely that you emailed me. We're gonna be in contact because you seem like a very, very knowledgeable person, and that's amazing. So that's already wonderful. Ah, Tempo Roboto. Ah, here's one thing. That's like one thing I can order, that I can answer. I wonder what's the story of choosing the paint color during the development of B&K UBM goodness back years. I believe Florian Schneider was obsessed with the blue-gray because of that. So in terms of Brüel Kjaer, this was military surplus green that they also mixed with white, which was even cheaper. So this was a cheap color, and then to make it even last longer, they added white, which was cheap, and it was military surplus because that was what was available after the war. I also heard that one of the founders of the company was colorblind, so he liked the shade of gray that this produced, and that's why we have this duck green, I think is one of the names, color on the Brüel Kjaers. So that's the two stories that make up the color reason behind this. And I think for Rode and Schwarz, it's probably similar. It looks like watered down Marineblau. So they also took some colors that were available surplus after the war and watered them down further to get this sort of blue grayish tone, even though they changed it after time. I'm looking at two Rode and Schwarz units here. One is the older one. It's a Versuchsmuster, a prototype of a PBO from 1949. That has a much darker original navy blue, Marineblau color, while the same unit that's probably from the 1960s, the production model, has a more grayish hue to it, which is more conform with the general look of Rode and Schwarz. But I'm guessing the war was the reason for these colors and economics. So oh, that's another idea. It could also be fun to do streams like this for smaller gear that wouldn't be worth a video but would be cool to show off. Maybe, yeah, could be fun indeed. The Chem sound chip. Yes, Roland Skeckel, I know about. That's a normal chem, right? That's used in many synthesizers, or am I missing something here? My detailed knowledge of electronics is not that deep. What? Have you read the paper on the acoustic properties of the B&K Green? Oh, that's a conversation that I'm not into it right now, that I didn't get. Duck egg green, yes, Sam called it duck green when he tried to cover it. Can we have a live stream on Collide 4 now that there are more of them out there? We could, but I don't know, like, what it could be. So maybe have guests on that play Collide that are not just me. It's like, this is my thing that I built. I think I would even like a featured artist series who play the instrument would be interesting to me. So I can tell a few things about upcoming videos. So my next video comes out this Thursday already, which is pretty fast. That's just 5 days after the last one. And it's going to be about the movie I scored, which comes out on Thursday. And it starts with Cannes and goes into the mud of the North Sea and into the dunes and all the little adventures I had while I recorded the music for this film. And that's the next one. And then I've got some new gear that I want to feature and cover again. I haven't done anything on new gear for a while. And I've got, oh my God, there's so much other stuff. Like, I can just look at something and pick it up and make a video about it. And I want to do more techniques videos. So a bunch of technique videos are coming. And yeah, I'm just enjoying now that I have a little bit more time to do more videos. Touring is one of the best things, and it's one of the reasons I became a musician. But when I try to tour and make videos, that's where I go crazy. So I rather, okay, now I'm touring, I can't do any videos, so that's why there's less at some point when I'm touring. But yeah, so there's a next video coming this Thursday. Good. So I think I'm gonna head to bed now. It's been a good hour that we talked, and thank you all for being here with me and sharing into this new discoveries on this wonderful instrument. I'm gonna share any further developments on this on the subreddit, and tomorrow, definitely not today, I'm gonna post more of the reference material I got there, so you can all read up if you like. Well, thank you all for being here, and I'll be seeing you in the next one, which will be not live, but it will be video out this Thursday. And yeah, beautiful nerd out. I love it. Come on, this is amazing. This is like, to be talking about some of the most obscure stuff with so many people. You are all wonderful. And yeah, have a good night, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye.